Hi everyone, welcome back to another of our 7 questions in 7 minute sessions. I'm joined by our CEO, David King. Hi Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Jordan. Welcome back from your holiday.
Thank you, it's great to be back. Excellent break as well. Today, Dave, we're going to swap things up. We've done this before, we're going to do it again. You're going to lead the session today and I'm going to answer the questions, so I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Look, as you were off on your holiday and probably had plenty of time to think, I thought it might be worthwhile having a bit of a chat about the decision-making process that organizations face when looking at a new learning platform, or really just looking at a new online platform for anything. As we're recording this, we're right in the middle of COVID-19, lots of organizations needing to accelerate their digital transformation processes. Yet we've both seen a lot of organizations getting stuck, and that process of which they desperately need in their organization getting derailed. And so I thought I might just get your view on kind of what are the top 7 reasons why you see sort of online programs, online platforms, SaaS platforms get derailed in an organization's decision-making process. And as usual, we're going to attempt to do it in 7 minutes or less.
Yep, I'll be as quick as I can.
Cool. Let's go with your first point.
Okay, so I think the first one is like too much tech or no more tech might be the things that you hear. And I think this is a bit of a legacy one where there's an understanding or a belief that adding more tech is this huge undertaking. And I think that's really because it used to be. So when organizations were running out new SAP implementations or even new modules of these big ERPs, there was external consultants that needed to be brought in, there were potential outages, there was huge rafts of new training that needed to be done. But it's just not the case anymore. New SaaS providers are far more streamlined and the requirements to get them on are really minimal. I think, so there's something there with the platform, but then there's also the user as well, where we're so accustomed to downloading new things on our phone or putting new things on our computers now that there's really not that much work to be done. And a good SaaS platform shouldn't really be any more difficult than adding a new app to your iPhone.
Yeah, it's a really good point that actually. I mean, I see human resources managers worry about change management with their staff, yet their staff have 40 apps on their phone, have 5 different streaming platforms on their computer, belong to 6 different social media sites, and never complain about managing all of that.
Absolutely.
I agree. So, okay. So we've got this issue, this kind of false problem of perceived change management issues. Yep. What's another big reason that you come across that derails the issue?
The other one that I think people struggle with is finding really good proof that the solution is going to work. So there's always this huge issue of due diligence. And if we're bringing new technology in, what does it do? How's it going to solve our problem? So a lot of times I see companies kind of rush to trial a new platform. So they'll see a demo, it's like a new cool toy that they've got access to, and they'll think, look, let me add it, let me have a go. But if you rush into a trial, you often don't really have a plan of what you're going to do in that trial.
Yep.
And it leads to poor results, or it leads to irrelevant results, I guess. So what we always try and do at Tribal Habits is encourage the people that we're talking to hold off a trial until they're really ready and they have some use cases that they want to test out. Because trials are normally a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. So you have this limited period of time where you can prove what the platform does and get some runs on the board so that when you go back to your management group to talk about it, you can show real examples of what you've done.
Cool. It probably leads into a bit of a third issue I was going to get you to talk about, which is, I guess if you can't get the social proof, you're going to struggle to build a business case. So how does that tie in as a problem?
Absolutely. And the business case is really, it's your opportunity to win people around to your way of thinking. So what you've got to do here is identify really clearly the problem, try to quantify the problem as much as you can, and then talk about how you're going to solve it. And the process needs to be structured and it needs to be bulletproof. So you need to try and look at the questions that you think you're going to get asked, or look at the challenges that might be in your business and address them up front. There's some great information on our website and our blog about this. We've also actually got a video about it as well. So
we've had a chat about this before.
Encourage people to check that out.
Okay. So let's say even if you kind of get over the fact that there's really no change management issue, you've done your trial and you've got your social proof, you've got your business case ready. That all sounds like we're in the home stretch, but what can go wrong from kind of that point that delays the process?
Yeah, I think this one's a bit of a contentious one, and it gets positioned as you get ambushed. So this is like someone comes in out of left field, as they call it, and shuts the project down at the last minute. And it's an interesting one. I think it does happen like realistically like that sometimes, but normally it's a bit of an issue in stakeholder management, I'd suggest. And if there's someone that has that power to derail it, you probably need to bring them on board up front and let them know what you're doing and how you're going about it. And they might even sculpt the journey a little bit. They might be like, look, let's look at this from a different point of view. And that way, when you get to this last stage, there's no one who can come and harpoon the project. So I think, the thing there is make sure you're identifying and addressing everyone who's going to be impacted by the project.
I think that's a really good point. I might actually pin that idea, and we might come back in a separate discussion and really quiz you on that stakeholder management point of view.
Yep.
So let's put that aside for now and say, okay, we got through the stakeholder management. I can see the finish line, but I sense there's still a few more hurdles that businesses run into here, which they don't make it for.
Yeah, so the big one obviously is cost. We get, this is too expensive. And I think it's a simple one where what you need to do, or if this question is coming up, I think you probably haven't sold the value of the new solution as well as you could have. It's really that cost versus value balance where, look, if you've identified a problem, let's say we're trying to reduce churn in our new hires, we keep hiring people when they leave. We think if we train them better, they'd stay. You can attribute, and it may be rough, but you can attribute a dollar figure to that turnover. So say that's costing your organization $300,000 a year, just as an argumental figure. If your solution costs $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year, you're way ahead. And that's the story that you need to tell. It's like, look, this is what the solution is going to cost us, but this is the benefit that we're going to get from delivering it.
A little bit back to that business case issue, but
Absolutely.
I think there's probably something in there as well as around, an organization's ability to demonstrate the ROI of training, which they often struggle with. If we're talking selfishly now about tribal habits for a minute. We haven't spoken much about implementation here apart from the myth of change management, but are there any implementation issues that can come out at the end here which can kind of derail that final decision as well?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the change management thing we were talking about before, and it can just feel too big. So if you come with, I've got this new platform and I'm going to implement it across our business in 15 different places, across every business unit, that can kind of turn people off a little bit. So what I think a good way to go about that is, it's called land and expand. So pick a project that's really pertinent to your organization and get it in, get it solving problems, show that it works. You'll get people familiar with the platform. You'll probably get some advocates for the platform as well. And at that point, you've got runs on the board. And when it comes to putting it into different parts of the business, the proof's there, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and certainly that's one of the things we talk about in training as well. You can get excited when you get access to tribal habits and have hundreds of topics and the ability to create everything, but that just can overwhelm the organization. So I like that idea of land and expand. Final thought, what's a final issue you want to cover?
The final one is a big one, and it's a really common one, and it's around timing. So we often hear this a lot. Oh, look, we're not ready just now. There's a few things moving in our organization. We're not at the right point of our budget cycle, but for whatever reason, the project gets put on hold. And I think here we're neglecting what the cost of doing nothing is. So we've gone into this project with a real reason and a real problem to solve. And by delaying it, the problem doesn't get delayed. The problem still is there. So I think my advice here is kind of whatever you do, don't do nothing. Like stay active, stay proactive, because I think it's really easy to underestimate that cost of doing nothing. And, making a decision can be difficult, but it keeps your business relevant. It keeps things moving. So I understand delays exist, but push on them would be my advice.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Businesses obviously have a problem which initiates this, and then suddenly at the end, they're just happy to live with their problem, not realizing that was a decision to live with it, and that incurs costs and harms. Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, Jordan, great job, mate. Thank you for sharing everything today on that. I think we'll go back to that stakeholder management one in a separate video in the future. And for those joining us today, if you're thinking about digital transformation and taking your organization forward in how it approaches knowledge and training and induction and compliance, Tribal Habits is obviously a great place to come and have a look. And many of the issues we've covered today, what we think about when we're building the platform, making it easy for people to use, making it very much a plug and play, growing solution. So we're reducing all of those those internal barriers to entry, all of that effort, all of that cost to allow you to easily get started and move forward. And there's lots more you can learn about that at tribalhabits.com. Hey, Jordan, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks very much, Dave.
All right, we'll see you all next time.
See you guys.